For years, José Aldo was more than just a fighter. He was a symbol of pride, resilience, and Brazilian greatness. A man who came from nothing, rose to become one of the most dominant champions in UFC history, and then saw it all come crashing down in a matter of seconds. The story of José Aldo isn't just about wins and losses. It's about the cost of greatness, the pain behind the pride, and why his legacy still breaks fans' hearts to this day. To understand why Aldo's story touches so many people, you have to go back to where it all began. The slums of Manaus, Brazil. Born into poverty, Aldo's early life was defined by struggle. He often went hungry, his family could barely afford to live, and the only escape he found was through fighting. When he discovered martial arts, it wasn't about glory or money. It was survival. Fighting gave him purpose, a way to defend himself, and eventually, a dream that would carry him out of poverty. Aldo's rise through the ranks was something out of a movie. His ferocious striking, iron will, and relentless pace made him a nightmare for opponents. By the time he reached the WEC, the precursor to the UFC's featherweight division, he was unstoppable. Fans around the world were mesmerized by his explosive style. The flying knees, the brutal leg kicks, the confidence of a man who seemed invincible. When the WEC merged with the UFC in 2010, Aldo became the first UFC featherweight champion, and for years, no one could touch him. He defended his belt 7 consecutive times, a record that stood for nearly a decade. To his fans in Brazil, Aldo was a hero, a symbol of hope. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting for every kid who had grown up in the favelas with nothing but a dream. For a while, it seemed like he could do no wrong. But even legends can't escape time, pressure, and fate. The beginning of Aldo's heartbreak came on December 12, 2015, UFC 194. The fight that changed everything. After years of dominance, after so much anticipation and bad blood, Aldo finally faced Conor McGregor. The world was watching. The fight lasted only 13 seconds. One punch, one perfectly timed counter left, and everything Aldo had built came crashing down. For fans, it wasn't just a loss, it was a tragedy. Their hero, the unbeatable king, defeated in the blink of an eye. That knockout haunted Aldo. For years, he had been the face of perfection, the embodiment of discipline and humility. Suddenly, he was the man who fell too quickly. The internet mocked him. Memes spread everywhere. It was cruel, and for Aldo, deeply personal. That loss broke something inside him, not just as a fighter, but as a person. He would later admit that he cried for days, that the pain of disappointment to his country and fans was unbearable. But Aldo's story didn't end there. What makes his legacy so powerful isn't just his victories. It's how he responded to defeat. After the McGregor fight, most expected him to fade away. Instead, he fought his way back. He reclaimed the featherweight title in 2016, proving to the world that champions fall, but real warriors rise again. Even as age, injuries, and younger opponents began to catch up, Aldo never lost his fighting spirit. He trained harder, evolved his style, and even dropped down to bantamweight to challenge himself once more. Behind the scenes, however, Aldo's life was far from easy. Years of brutal fights had taken a toll on his body. His knees were wrecked, his ribs constantly hurt, and the mental pressure was immense. The sport he loved had given him everything, but it had also broken him in ways fans could never see. In interviews, Aldo often spoke about the loneliness of being a fighter, the constant expectation to be perfect. The feeling that one loss can erase an entire career. Fans who watched Aldo's decline, his losses to Holloway, Volkanovski, Yan, didn't just see a fading champion. They saw a man giving everything he had left, refusing to give up, even as time took its toll. And that's why his story hurts so deeply. José Aldo never truly lost his greatness. It was simply that the sport he helped build had moved on, and his body could no longer keep up with his warrior heart. Even in retirement, Aldo's journey continues to touch fans. He transitioned into professional boxing, where he proved that the fire still burned inside him. He became a devoted family man, opening gyms in Brazil, helping young fighters avoid the same hardships he endured. Despite all the fame and wealth, Aldo remains grounded, humble, and grateful. The same kid from the favelas who fought his way to the top of the world. The tragedy of José Aldo's legacy is that it reflects the pain of every great champion, the inevitability of decline. Fans don't just miss his victories, they miss the era he represented. The days when skill, honor, and respect defined the fight game. The image of Aldo crying in the octagon after his final fight wasn't weakness. It was pure humanity. A man who gave everything to his craft, knowing that chapter of his life had finally closed. At 39, Aldo remains one of the most respected figures in combat sports. Fighters who once idolized him now call him a legend. His name stands alongside the greatest: Anderson Silva, Georges St-Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov, not just for his achievements, but for his heart. His legacy breaks fans' hearts because it reminds us that greatness is fleeting, and even the strongest must one day bow to time. José Aldo's story isn't a sad ending, it's a bittersweet truth. He lived the dream of millions, but carried the weight of expectations that few could ever bear. His journey from the favelas to world champion and beyond shows that the true measure of a fighter isn't how long they stay on top, but how they face defeat, how they rise again, and how they carry themselves when the spotlight fades. So when we talk about José Aldo, we don't just remember the knockouts, the belts, or the records. We remember the man, the fighter who gave his heart to the sport, who fought for his people, and who never stopped believing in himself. His legacy may be bittersweet, but it's real. And that's why José Aldo's story will forever break and inspire the hearts of fight fans everywhere.